We have a very significant weather pattern that's about to hit everyone. Also, what's going on with the tropics is looking very concerning. Now, for today, for tomorrow, we still have this shortwave trough coming in from the northwest. Now, this will bring threats. That's enhanced features for today, also for tomorrow. I did post this on my community tab yesterday, give you an update. Chances for tornadoes, significant winds, 75 miles per hour wind gusts or greater, and significant hail, 2 inches or greater as well. Now, this will move across the Midwest towards the Great Lakes as we go through for Saturday. That has upgraded to a slight risk as well. And what's going on in the tropics? Because you do see we have Invest 96L. It is moving northwest at 15 miles per hour. Maximum winds are at 34 miles per hour. So it's about to be a tropical storm as it goes further towards the north. Now, still showing that group of thunderstorms along the east coast is pushed further offshore. You can see it over here. It did downgrade to 30% and it moved way offshore. You still got some flooding that could happen along the coastal regions for the southeast. And we're still watching a tropical wave coming from the Bahamas going all the way towards the northeast quadrant of the Gulf, trying to produce some kind of system. So far, just bringing more thunderstorms, more rainfall. Well, we're about to go into a new region where we have multiple tropical waves coming off of the coast of Africa, going into the MDR, the main development region, right when we go into this negative PNA. So the same high pressure that has split in two, allowing Invest 96L to go further towards north, is going to consolidate all the way towards the Gulf, still push these tropical waves further towards the west. Now, once these tropical waves get into the Eastern Caribbean, there's going to be two that we need to watch. Also need to watch Invest 96L. Invest 96L showing further towards the west-northwest. Now, if you've never been here before, make sure you subscribe. I am all year long. I have a high rate of accuracy over here in the tropics as well as what's going on in the severe weather. The same people, matter of fact, that are telling people not to worry about this is now talking about this. And we've been talking about it a lot here. I'm going to show you the latest possibilities in this video, and we're going to start with the tropics. Now, first off, the system moving off the northeast, because this is going to be an issue potentially later on. It is at 30%, and it's not until 7 days, so nothing super close. And you can see while some slow tropical or subtropical development is possible over the weekend, while the system moves northward to northeastward. So later on, this is expected to develop, and I'm showing that the same high pressure that is going to be steering Invest 96L into Atlantic is the same high pressure that could potentially keep this as a little bit of a stall while it interacts with this later. So we do need to watch this. And Invest 96L is at 60% in the next 7 days still, and it's only 10% in the next 48 hours. It's showing still slow development. It still has all this dust while it moves generally northwestward or west northwestward. So we do need to watch this. This is what GFS has been seeing for quite some time, so it's a little bit disturbing. So here you are with Invest 96L, and you can see as it meanders west-northwest, once it gets around 5 days, you have a little broad area of where this more likely can be. Also showing a piece down here, but this group over here is more confident it will be over here towards the west-northwest path, but showing in a few of the ensembles that this will continue on that west-northwest path, but slow down after that. So we do need to still watch this. Also shown by the automatic tropical cyclone forecast that there's a good chance once it gets around that 6 to 7 day marker that this system is going to be a tropical storm and try and become a hurricane in the Atlantic. And still showing why that group of thunderstorms tries to form up with that tropical wave in the northeast quadrant of the Gulf. Still showing a weak chance, everyone. But by next Friday, this is where this other wave is going to start moving towards the Lesser Antilles. And you can see as you go 9 and 10 days away, that's where it starts changing its variety. So either the high pressure is going to retract back. This is by the 17th. And it could start making that west-northwest path or go further towards the west where it could turn a little bit later. The latest information shows once you go past 10 days, it will continue either on that further to the west-northwest, it will go turn early as the high pressure retracts back, even could go further into the Caribbean and affect maybe the Western Gulf. So you can see literally in 72 hours, almost 4 days, this is where this moves further towards the west to the north. This is Invest 96L. While you have your ridge breaking apart in the Atlantic, giving a chance for this to head towards the north. So still showing that information. While we have multiple tropical waves, showing this one by the 10th going to the west-northwest, still will be broken apart, but you still got to watch these tropical waves. But you can notice right after that, this is where we have these other tropical waves coming off the MDR, while this dances around with that system in the Atlantic, maybe even becoming tropical again and intensifying. So we do need to watch this because this could easily get pulled back a little bit further to the west, do a little bit of a wobble. But this is where our main pattern is going to change. And you see that high pressure does expand still all the way into the Gulf. Now this is going into a negative PNA. This is still going to direct traffic further towards the west. I've been saying this for multiple days. So if you're just now hearing this from other people, make sure you subscribe so you stay up to date with the newest information. And you see these waves do make it all the way towards the west, while we still have that ridge going all the way into the Gulf, blocking any kind of turn early and showing that we have two waves to watch, everybody. Still showing this one that can go west, and this one that's coming behind it is going to be a little bit later showing up to the Lesser Antilles. So it's going to meet a new weather pattern where the high pressure is going to retract back, and more likely we'll be going on a pattern like this, trying to get pulled around the high pressure, just like what's happening with Invest 96L. With the latest information, you can see with the Euro showing those going further on the west. This one going further west because it took advantage of that blocking pattern, and the second one going on that west-northwest path because of the high pressure retracting back, definitely by the 18th and the 19th. Now this is where things are going to be different. You can see the latest information with the European on the data. Still showing we're going to that negative PNA, but it did lessen the amount of time that is going to have to travel into the Caribbean and go further towards the west. I was hoping to stick with it only for the factor to push this into the Eastern Pacific, not for any threat for anyone in the Caribbean, but it did change. You can see that maybe now towards the 17th and the 18th, we're going to be in that negative PNA, where yesterday it showed you had a little bit more time. So this could turn a little bit earlier once it gets into the Caribbean, where it would be more like an Eastern Gulf and a Southeast or East Coast problem. Now here's where things are still split apart. So this is with the European. When you look with GFS, it's confirming the same information that you have to around the 17th before that blocking pattern retracts back from the Gulf. That westward push is going to stop and everything's going to start heading to the north, whether it's in the Atlantic, whether it's in the Gulf or the Caribbean, it's going to start headed to the north. And GFS is still going by the pattern that Euro saw yesterday, but changed that we're not going to be in this negative PNA at that time. And this is going to open up any northward travel in the Atlantic, the Gulf, or the Caribbean. Still showing on the latest runs, everyone, that we have a lot of deep ocean heat all the way from the Eastern Caribbean all the way towards the loop current in the Gulf. So as soon as these waves starts going into the Caribbean, they're going to start rotating around. It's going to start upwelling to warmer temperatures below. And if it can get away from this dust and start breathing really good at the higher altitudes, that it will tap into this deep ocean heat and it will strengthen and intensify very quickly. I'm not still showing that we have a hurricane or a major hurricane going into our Gulf. I see this going everywhere. We're still at a watch phase, everyone. We are not at a warning stage. I'm still showing it is a 50-50. It's not leaning towards 100%. So please don't believe that you have a hurricane going into the Gulf. At least not just yet. It's still too far away, everybody. But this right here is very concerning, because this right here could take a wave overnight in the Caribbean and you wake up to a tropical storm or even a hurricane in the Caribbean because of the deep ocean heat. So I'm going to show you the latest outcomes on the deterministic models, but then I'm going to show you the ensembles, what more likely will happen. Then we'll go on to the severe weather. So you can see here with the European. So still showing by the 15th or the 16th, you will have a tropical wave by the northern Leeward Islands in the Lesser Antilles, and this is going to move to the west-northwest. How far to the west depends still how fast this travels. You remember my video yesterday, a slower travel will go further towards that northward push. That way, when it retracts back from going out of that negative PNA, the high pressure will steer this further towards the north. And a faster system will scoot right through the Caribbean, and the high pressure will push it further towards the west. That's where you could have still a Gulf problem at play. I'm not showing that as a big thing. I'm showing, matter of fact, the information is changing to a tighter group to where the negative PNA, like I showed you, will not last as long, and this will turn north a lot sooner. Latest on the European shows by the time it gets towards next Friday, you're going to have a tropical storm passing by Lesser Antilles, going by Puerto Rico and the islands, and as it goes by Dominican Republic, goes all the way towards Cuba and Jamaica, possibly by Sunday. Now this is where it could take that northward path, start going towards Florida or southeast, but if it goes quick enough, it goes further towards that west. While you get that next wave that's coming right behind this, taking that northward path because we're getting out of that negative PNA and the high pressure is directing all the traffic further towards the north, and there's not that blocking pattern. But at the same time, this would go north as well. Showing in the latest runs that you'll have both of them going into that direction. Now remember, we've seen this before in multiple ensembles about this 1-2 punch that was about to happen. We've been seeing this for quite some time. It's not just something new with GFS. I've been seeing it on social media. Everybody's saying, oh, GFS this, GFS that. Euro AI has seen this a week ago. Everyone, that possibility. And it's still at a 50-50. This is not what is a forecast. This is not a guarantee. Not even this big storm over here. It is still trending a very strong signal, everybody. But this is still past 10 days. 10 days is right here going into the Caribbean, maybe going towards Jamaica in that region. This is still far away. This could still change. So please don't believe what's down the road. It could happen, but it also cannot happen, everybody. Remember, the dust. Please don't forget about the dust. Now, the latest information on Euro AI confirms the same thing. A big, broad area of thunderstorms by the 15th or the 16th, still in the same spot. It's been showing run after run, showing the same thing we see by the Euro deterministic, that it will go somewhat towards Jamaica and start curving a little bit by the time we get to the 18th. And you can still see we have that blocking pattern from that negative PNA, still pushing that towards the west, northwest. And you see also once you get around the 19th or the 20th, still showing that blocking pattern. Now this is where AI is taking it right into that Gulf. And the latest information we're showing is that that blocking pattern potentially will not be there by the 19th, and this will start taking that northward turn. All we know, this is going to go into the Caribbean because of the negative PNA. Whether it's going to stay a negative PNA and block, we still don't know that portion yet. So I'm only still forecasting up to this portion. From this portion, we still don't know if this is going to the west or to the north, northwest, or maybe even straight north as a fish storm. I'm going to show you the latest information according to the ensembles, and you'll see what the possibilities are. Matter of fact, the latest information according to the GFS, taking Invest 96L all the way into the Atlantic as something that strengthens up, just like we've seen in the data, it can strengthen up. And just like we've seen on the ensemble members, that can go further towards the west, northwest as we go 7 days. That's where this is at in 7 days. And showing right after that, that's going to dance around into the Atlantic while we do get a high pressure block that is still growing in the Gulf. Now it brings one wave into the Eastern Pacific, and the next wave that is in question, it brings it right to the same area, but a little bit stronger than the other ones. While we still got to worry about this. This could curve right around to the Atlantic. It could be a big problem for Bermuda. It's a growing threat, and it could also go back further towards the west. We don't know where the weather pattern is going to set up at this time. This is too far. This is going right towards 9 and 10 days. GFS is confirming it will go towards that west-northwest path, pretty much in agreement with the European and the AI. But once again, it's past 10 days, everybody. That does change. But the latest run shows that it will go all the way towards the west, and then we'll get that northward push right into the Gulf, going right towards Texas on that westward push. But this is why I say we're only at a watch stage and not a warning stage, even though it's showing on the older model of GFS, the 0Z run overnight, even though it's showing with the Euro deterministic and the Euro AI that we have something coming into this region once we reach around the 17th and the 18th. Latest update with GFS is going back and forth, everybody. Not only 7 days, Invest 96L in the Atlantic, the next tropical wave showing that the dust could hinder that, and it could be even further towards the north. Now, this is where it could take advantage of that open ridge and go a little bit further into the Atlantic. You see the opening, and it could go further into the Atlantic, or it could close and go further towards the west. But this system up here, Invest 96L, would keep this open for the next wave to follow in suit, and you could be looking at nothing. You could be looking at 2 fish storms that could be close towards the East Coast. That's why I say we got to take it literally a day at a time and just follow the updates, everyone. That's why I haven't been doing afternoon updates, because we are still 7 days from this growing into the Atlantic, and we're still 9 days from what this wave is going to do. And it's been trending a little further towards the north every single time. So the new information showing that Invest 96L will go further towards that west-northwest in 7 days. This would keep the ridge open and a path for the next one to come into the same direction instead of that big high pressure blocking everything and pulling that further towards the west. You see the new information? So here's the ensembles, and it's literally at 10 days, everybody. So this is why I'm saying it's still too far to take as a forecast. All we got to do is watch it. It's not at a warning stage. But you can see in these ensembles, you see these waves are just now starting to go into the Caribbean or going into the Atlantic, and it's still showing that 1-2 punch, even showing still a possible late formation by a tropical wave that could go into multiple regions, not just into our Gulf, everybody. But you can see multiple outcomes. Look at this. It is all over the place in these ensembles, still too far to take as a forecast. And you can see on the other 25, showing it could go into the Caribbean, it could go along the East Coast, it could go into the Atlantic and be a fish storm, and we still could get that 1-2 punch, and maybe even a late forming tropical wave. And if you look at these, some of these still showing that nothing will happen. So it's not 100% by any means, everybody. Now we need to watch it, because what I'm seeing is as soon as this reaches that deep ocean heat content, like you see right here on 41, that's where you could start seeing some kind of strengthening happening while you get that second wave taking that northward path. So I will keep you updated. It's still concerning, but I'm seeing a new trend starting to pop out. We still have a chance for that westward travel of something to happen, but showing that blocking pattern more than likely will not stay in effect for too long, and it will start going towards the north. Now for today, you can see just like I posted my community tab yesterday, it did upgrade even our chances for tornadoes, a wide array of area, and increased chances with the 5%. So here's your cities and states at risk for a potential tornado for today. Also, your wind threat, even significant severe, everyone. So in this black hatched area, you can see winds 70 to 75 miles per hour wind gusts, or stronger in this 30% area. So here's your cities and states at risk for damage and winds for today. And the hail threat as well. It is going to be significant. You got chances for 2 inches in diameter in this black hatched area, or larger in this 30%. But here's your cities and states at risk for the hail threat for today. So once you get around 5 or 6 p.m. for this evening, remember this is Central Time right above my head, you get some storms from Montana, but you get some very strong cells moving through North Dakota, going through Canada, all evening long. This is where you have your threat for your tornadoes all the way towards 11 o'clock. Now, once you get towards 11 o'clock, then you have a cluster of storms, which is bringing more of a hail threat and a damage and wind threat. You see that bow and line feature? And this mostly is going to be for North Dakota, pushing all night into the early morning hours into Minnesota. Then it's going to start losing its strength as it goes by the UP of Michigan. Then for tomorrow, it's going to be more of the same, but a little bit further towards the south, where it's going to bring chances for large hail greatly and a smaller threat for tornadoes, but you still have one. While this comes through, maybe for northern Wisconsin and the UP. This is a maybe, because this is if it breaks the cap, everybody. Definitely showing large hail as you go through the evening from Montana, North Dakota, overnight into early morning hours for northern Minnesota. Then again for tomorrow, it comes right back again and maybe stretching further into Minnesota. So for today, showing chances for 40 and 50 miles per hour wind gusts for Wyoming going through Montana. But you start getting that 60 in that red, that 70 in that brown. You even get that 80 and that 90 in all this white. It's showing 100 down here. You always tone it down a little bit. But then for tomorrow, this builds right back up again and bringing more threats for damage and winds a little bit further south in that trough for South Dakota going through Nebraska. So you see for tomorrow, also you have that enhanced feature. Now your tornado threat is a little bit less of a threat. Tomorrow's more like damage and winds and hail, but you still have the threat. So here's your cities and states at risk for a possible tornado for tomorrow, for Friday. Your wind threat, you have a 5% and a 15%. I think we still could see a significant severe section over here for South Dakota, maybe even a little bit of western Minnesota. But so far, here's your cities and states at risk for damage and winds for Friday. And the hail threat, which showing no matter what, it will be significant severe for today, also for tomorrow. Chances for 2 inches in diameter in all this black hatched area or greater on that 30%. So here's your cities and states at risk for some hail threats for Friday. And you see they did add that Saturday as well for the chance for the straight line winds to come through. So here's your cities and states at risk for severe weather for Saturday. And before I go, a quick word from our Father, Ecclesiastes 12, 13 and 14. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments. For this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment, with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. Amen. Just stay up to date, everyone. I will keep you updated. I'm not seeing a big threat for the Gulf just yet. I'm seeing a different trend happening to where these other storms are making an opening for these other waves to go into. So we do need to watch it. I think we could see some turning in the future. Thank you again for your time. And remember, above all things, all glory does go to God, our Father in heaven, Yahweh. And I always hope he keeps you safe every single day of your life and forever. Amen. Hallelujah. Amen. Have a great day, everyone. I'll keep you updated.